You'll see those messages popping up. All right, this is the last actual live session. Tomorrow will be a pre-recorded thing. Actually, not pre-recorded. You just kind of go there and you'll have your question. All right, so there won't be a live session tomorrow. You just go and get your question. Now, an email did go out that was kind of automated, letting everybody know that you will be cut off at 10 p.m. tonight or tomorrow night. That is actually wrong because that was updated. It will be 11:59 right at midnight. So I want to make sure everybody is aware there is an extra 2 hours because of the downtime on Monday. All right, so everybody got that? Yes, yes. It is 11:59, so you have those extra 2 hours on Thursday. So please be aware of that in case you're running out of time at the last minute. Hopefully that won't be the case. You've been keeping up, and so you'll have that extra time. All right, everybody good? Yes. Look for those emojis, and that way we can move forward. Matthew's there, yes. All right, there we go. That way we can get to getting here. Okay, so I'm going to do some screen sharing here. Now that we've finished shaking our groove things there, like the song said, some peaches and herbs from way back in the 70s there. All right, so we got the recordings all the way through here in case you need to refer to those. And you can see right here, final exam, no live session. Check the live conference for today's question. Again, if you have not done that survey, please do so. Look for Dr. Parker's name there. All right. Okay, so here we are. We are on Wednesday. You notice there's just the conference in here, but Thursday you do have things in here. There's that live participation assignment. Click there, get that assignment. Career plan, part 3. So now if you did parts 1 and 2 well, part 3 is going to be a breeze for you. So hopefully you did parts 1 and 2 because part 3 is a big portion of your grade. It is a big impact. I want to point out right here, points 250. Okay. If you turn something in and it is not of quality, don't expect the full 250 points. This is going to be a big impact on that final score. So please make sure that you have done your work in week 1 and in week 3, and then you have a template. So click on this template. You have a download arrow there. It may not let me bring it up here on the screen. So let me download this real quick here. So I will download this so I can bring it up here. It's pulling it up here. All right, so this is what it's going to look like when you open it up. It is a Word document. Everybody has access to Word free through the student portal. In case you're not sure where that is, you go right through here from the student portal, Microsoft 365. Okay, this is why we recommend not using your phone because it is not a computer. If you don't have a computer, use one at the campus. But you click right here, click sign in. If you're prompted for a password and an ID, it's the same as your Canvas, user ID and password. Go to apps, and Word would be right there. So you can access Word and utilize it right there. It's free for everybody. And or you can run the app Word on your phone, but it's a little more awkward to do so. Okay, so this form you're going to be filling out your long-term goals. You've already did those, so you'll be able to just put those in here from week 1. Okay, define your personal skill set. List your skills off your resume. Okay, understand what skills you have that are transferable. So look at your skills. List your transferable skills that are under here. Okay, these are also known as your soft skills. Okay, determine entry-level positions, salaries, and qualification. Okay, how many people know what positions you're ready to go into? How many people know what jobs you're ready to apply for in your positions when you graduate? And you know what salary to expect. You need to know these things. You need to know what kind of money to ask for. Don't trust them to just give you money. You need to be out there looking to see what wages you can expect. So that's why you need to know this. Put it in here. What do you need to do as far as work? How many people know what skills they're looking for? Anybody know what skills they're looking for those positions? All right, the rest of you, you need to know if you're going to do this position, what do they want me to do? Okay. Now you can go to that, that Gov website, and it will list qualifications. You can also look for these things. I believe there might be a help up here. Let's see if she's got it in this one. Open resources. Let's see what we have under here. Skills needed by your profession. Go right here. Right here is where you have, if you're HVAC, you click on this right here. And HVAC jobs with salaries, skills. Here's your skills that you need, etc. Every position that you would need, every career, it's listed in here, okay? So just come in here, find your career, look at these things, okay? You want to know where your keywords are? Come right here. Look, here's your electrician keywords, your HVAC, your welding. Make sure you're looking around here. Use these resources. It will help build your resumes up even more so, help you when you go through your different thing. Okay, now also notice right here, look at this final exam study guide. How many people could use a study guide for this final exam? Anybody? Want to be able to get through that final exam? Only one person is out there responding. Where's everybody else at? Okay. Do I need to call on people individually? Because I can just email the question to the one person and send the recording out, and you have to go through the recording to get to the question. We need to see these people responding out there. Look for those emojis, etc. All right. So let's wake up, folks. Final exam study guide. Click on this. You'll see it out here. Yes, it does have watermarks on it so that you just don't shove it out there onto the internet. Okay, and it's got everything broken down. I strongly recommend that you put this on your phone or download the file, etc., so that you have it as you go through that final exam. All right, so you're going to have that as well. Oops, I went down too far here. Okay, so you're going to have that career plan, and then you're also going to have this professional ethics scenario. Okay, now ethical has been discussed in this class, I know because of the layout of the class, and these are the principles that govern your behavior, okay, in or a group in your business. They tell you how to behave, okay? They establish the rules, and it tells everyone how they need to act and what's expected. Okay, so you're going to need to watch this video and list and define 3 of the 10 types, okay? And how do you feel they contribute to a positive and productive work environment? That's the purpose of them putting out those codes of conduct. This is what they want you to do. This is how they want you to act because everybody should be doing these things. All right. So that's what they want you to do there. Okay. So now the last thing we're going to talk about is the final exam. Is anybody worried about the final exam? Nervous about the final exam? Sometimes people are worried about those. Okay. So the big thing is do not overthink exams. That's one of the biggest issues with them. Don't overthink it and go with your gut feeling a lot of times. Think about that. There's a reason why you have that initial feeling. So let's take a look at this. So now this exam has changed. We've tried to make it a little more convenient for you. So this final exam is 25 questions. Now, these 25 questions don't go all the way back. It's very specific to these chapters, okay? So 4, 5, 11, 13, and 14, and they're 4 points each. Don't leave a question blank, okay? Very critical. If you leave a question blank, it's automatically incorrect, okay? And it's 10% of your overall grade. We lowered this percentage. Systematically, there are people who have questions and problems with exams. So we didn't want to punish those who just have this, this anxiety about exams. You're going to click take the exam, and you're going to see that they should be pretty much, if not all, multiple choice. All right. Now, you're welcome to help each other. However, don't say for question 1, I selected number 3 and everybody selects number 3. Because the problem with that is not everybody's question number 1 is the same. Okay, the questions are randomly generated. So you may have the same first question, but you may not. It all depends on what it's thrown onto the screen. Okay, so you read the question just like anything else, and you figure out what is the best answer. Okay, the best one. All right. Now you're going to go through here. You're going to go check, 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 all the way through. Now this one here, you're going to have to match them. And so when you do this, you're going to have to figure out which one of these best defines each one of those. All right. And that's what you're going to do for the entire exam. Then what's going to happen, that is not necessarily your final grade. Okay. Dr. Parker will go back through these and review them to make sure that the auto grader did its job correctly. So until she goes through, that is not your final grade. Your final grade may actually be higher, but it will not be lower. Okay, everybody got that? Your grade could go up, but it will not go down from the score you see when it initially posts. All right? So it could go up, but it will not go down. And that's how you take this exam. Have that study guide with you. Now, some people will put this question in and they will Google search it. I will tell you this, over the years, people have put incorrect answers out there for these questions. And these incorrect answers match answers on this test. And if you put it in, you will get it wrong. Please be very careful if you are out there searching for the answers for this. You can end up with a horrific score because people thought it was funny to put bad answers out there because people have been selecting them over the years. Those have now become some of the most popular responses. Okay, everybody got that? Some of the most popular responses to these questions on the internet are incorrect. So please be careful. All right. So we're going to do a quick roll call check here. If everybody could do an emoji so I can see who's out there. and who I may need to knock off the session and see if they rejoin. So if we can do a quick roll call here, I appreciate it. Because I see some that are not responding at all, so I believe they are not out there. Thank you for those that have responded. I've made note of the ones that are not out there. Perfect. I appreciate that. All right, so we've covered everything that's related to the assignments. And we're going to talk about something that is really become a problem here in South Florida, in Florida in general. And so much so that it's hit the news recently. Our governor, like him or not, has actually brought this to everyone's attention. The consumer companies and unions, everybody, agencies, they've all brought this up, and it's on this protecting your identity. Let me go back here. Make sure that I've got this. Protecting your identity. And we're going to have a smile. Okay. So we've all heard about identity theft, right? Everybody's heard about it. Yes. Looking for those emojis. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about employment scams, potential risks about using the internet, malware, and how to create and maintain a security plan, which a lot of people have already. So identity theft, we got to be real careful when doing job searching, okay? Because there's fake companies out there, like there's fake anything. And so we got to be careful because we're putting a lot of personal information out there. And one of the big ones is do not release social security number on documents. Okay, if they're asking for your social security number, that's a big red flag. Big one. Okay. Do not give up your social security number online like that. If they need that, that should be when you are further along in the hiring practice, and you should be able to give that either in person or you've already got to the point where now you feel comfortable you can release that. You do not need to put that on applications, etc., without visiting the location and talking to the people in person first. Okay? Now, how many people have heard of the Federal Trade Commission, also known as the FTC? People think of them for like broadcasting and stuff like that. These are the people that actually will help you out for identity theft. People don't realize that that's who you go to if you have identity theft. So when it's talked about possibly, not funding or taking people away from the FTC, this affects you because this is where you go to if you have identity theft. Many people don't realize that. And so that is where you will go. Go to the FTC's website if you had your identity stolen. And some of the things that happen really common around here is you can find publicly on the internet, you can find out people buy cars all the time. This happens very much so in this area. They wait till you're very close to doing the payoff. They find this out. Then they search for someone who's been a little careless and they find out they have money in their bank account. This is rather convenient. So then they use burner phones. They get pictures of your vehicle. Then what they do is they take those pictures. Then they use the money from somebody else's account. They pay off your vehicle without you realizing it, only they go in and they change the title information to a fake person. And since everything is kept online, now that vehicle has been paid off, but it's no longer in your name. And so what do? They then list your vehicle for sale with the contact information to the burner phone. Now you see where this is going? Then they have your car towed. Once they have your vehicle, they change the ignition, the person comes, they buy the car, they go, and they have the car re-registered. No problem, because the car is no longer in your name. You report the car stolen, now you've got a problem because you're trying to report a car that's stolen that has been sold. You're the one that looks bad. The police do not want to believe you because a vehicle was stolen. There was a legitimate title change sold, and now this person has title and the vehicle. This is how quickly identity theft can change, and it can change all because somebody applied for a job at a fake company. Okay, so some of the things with employment scams, because you're going to go to unfamiliar websites and you need to recognize them. Okay, and some of these sites are designed just to get your personal information. Okay. Be careful about emails that come to you from companies that you didn't apply for. Now, how did they all of a sudden just, oh, we are interested in hiring you? Okay. Why and how did you get my information? Okay. Make sure you are researching this company to make sure that they are legit. Do they have a physical address? Is everything on their website spelled correctly? Do they have phone numbers? Do they have emails? Okay. The email you receive, they say they're part of this company, but check the URL up at the top. Is that URL actually part of the company? Because if it doesn't have the company in that URL, chances are it is fake. These are little things that people are like, I don't have time for that. Well, you could spend 2 years or more trying to clean up the mess because you didn't have time for something. So these are all things that are red flags. Asking you to set up a direct deposit account or credit card information in order to proceed with the application. Okay. Or if they're going to pay way more than anybody else. These are all red flags. Okay. Anybody hear of Glassdoor? Glassdoor.com. Anybody ever hear of this website? Okay. Check them out on Glassdoor. If you see these wages, go to glassdoor.com, put in the company name, look at previous employers. What do they say about them? Did they legitimately pay this? Was something weird about them? Check them out, see what's going on with them. Okay. So make sure, search for the company name and address. Make sure everybody is good. All right. Now, when you're on the internet, every computer has an IP address. That's the little numbers, and it tells where you are, etc. And it also reveals an approximate geographic location, about where you're physically located. Okay, and this helps them tell where you are, who you are, etc. Now, this one always cracks me up. Secure browsing. How many people use that incognito browsing? No, no one can see what I'm looking at. It don't work. Okay, give you a hint. Anybody with a little bit of knowledge on the internet, they can see exactly what you're doing. Your boss could still see what you're doing on the internet. Does incognito and secret this and that? Yeah, doesn't work. We can still see exactly what you're doing. We just know that you're trying to hide it. So as soon as we see those get turned on, well, it's a red flag to say, watch this person. And then that triggers us to watch you a little bit more closely. Okay. But when you are browsing, look for this. Sometimes you'll just see it without the S, but that S means it's a secure website. It's held to a higher standard, and without it, that means something's already a little bit fishy with this one. Be careful. Now, Chrome, Safari, Firefox, all of them, they'll give you a warning if it's not a secure website, but that's not always 100%. So be careful. Now, Wi-Fi hotspots. We all use them. They're everywhere. But be careful because people will pull up to a business in a van, etc., and it will have a Wi-Fi hotspot, and it is running with the closest misspellings of the legitimate one for that business. So you mistype the Wi-Fi hotspot or you accidentally select it instead, and you're doing things you shouldn't be on a Wi-Fi hotspot, like a bank transaction or your online shopping. While you're doing that, they're capturing every bit of your information, your credit card number, your passwords, everything you're doing, they are capturing it. They're still letting everything go through so you don't realize you're not on the real one. So be very careful with those things. Cookies. We all love cookies. But what is a cookie exactly? So many people use the term, they don't know what it is, but it's actually data, little bits of data that are left behind, like cookie crumbs, okay? And that has information about the website, what you did on it, the things you clicked, et cetera, et cetera. That way, when you go back there, that's why you see things grayed out or marked or whatever, because you brought those cookies with you. And when it clicks onto that site, that's how it knows what you've done, okay? But there's also cookie-based attacks, okay? Or people want those cookies. They want to know where you've been. We call those people actually cookie monsters, okay? Now, a cookie monster wants onto your system, steal those cookies. They know where you've been, what you shop, what you bought. All that information is worth money. So cookie monsters make a lot of money stealing your cookies. And that's also the cookie hijacking that you see here. So clear your cookies when you're finished on the internet, and you can prevent that. Now, there's all kinds of different things that we've heard, but people may not know the difference. Phishing, okay? These are emails, things, and websites. They look identical to the real stuff, and they're trying to get you to put things in so that they can get it. That is fake. Kind of like the show Catfishing, you know, and that very similar. Okay, now malware. Now, this software, they put it out there to damage or destroy things on your computer. Okay, that's what malware is. Now, a virus, it's going to negatively impact you. It could slow down, it could damage things. But the big thing between it and malware, it's designed to move on to another one. So every time you interact with another one, it's going to try to jump onto that. That's why it's called a virus. It wants to spread. Now, adware, it's not necessarily a bad thing. You may want something and you don't want to pay for the full version. You want it for free, so you have to put up with advertising. Okay? They say that the advertising material is automatic without users' knowledge. No, adware is also with the user's knowledge, so that part's incorrect. Now, spyware, you may not know that it's out there, but it's sitting there on your computer and it's keeping track of everything and it's sending pieces of information back. Going back a few years, Microsoft got in trouble with their Xbox. Anybody remember the little camera that sat on top of the Xbox? Any gamers out there remember that? Um, Microsoft was turning those on and watching people in their living rooms. Very creepy. It was a type of spyware. People didn't know that it was just coming on and the programmers were watching people, seeing what they were doing. Highly illegal, but they did it. And then ransomware we've heard about recently, where different groups of pirates were actually going in and taking over a system, locking it down, and they wouldn't release the data until they were paid. And then they let people back in. So what can you do? Change your passwords, create bigger passwords, more complex ones, and make sure you keep that information stored someplace safe in case you forget it. Run antivirus software. Everyone's got their favorites. Some are better than others. Everyone's going to argue which one's the best. Make sure you back up your data. Thumb drives, external hard drives to the cloud. Have different ways of doing it. Back up or make sure your internet browsers are up to date because they'll have better protections on them. Make sure your security settings are set. Uh, Updates for Windows or Safari on Macs, whatever, everything's set to update. Now it says your pop-up blockers are turned on. That may or may not be true for the work you're doing. Sometimes you have to turn them off so that you can do certain programs. Any suspicious emails, delete them. Unknown links, delete those if you can. Make sure you keep your cookies clean, firewall turned on. Make sure you have passwords on your router. Some people don't set them because it's easier without. Make sure you check anything external you plug in for viruses, okay? Things like that. It says to avoid free public hotspots. I disagree with that. Everyone's got their opinion. Be careful how you use them, okay? And make sure your privacy settings on social network. You should be locking those down if you're searching for jobs anyway. So live conference questions. You have 3 of them. Number 1, do we have a live conference session tomorrow? We discussed that. And will there be a live conference assignment tomorrow? Now, those are separate questions. They have separate answers. 3, have you or someone you know ever been targeted of an employment or identity theft scam? If not, look up an example of one and describe the scam. What were indicators it was a scam? I've had students in the Orlando area. They worked at various construction sites for 2 weeks, and then after working there, they went to get paid, and the company literally closed up and no money. They worked 2 weeks, no money. So be very careful in the Orlando area, and I know Tampa can be um, an issue sometimes too. All right. So your career planning is going to be lifelong. Don't think this is a one and done thing. As you're in your career, you're always going to be looking ahead. In your life, you're always going to be looking ahead. You're always going to be planning for your family, yourself, everything. And it's this continuous thing, your self-exploration. What are your values, your interests? Those are going to change, okay? You're going to look at different titles, your jobs, your employers. What do you want out of them? Do I need to learn from somebody else? Am I going to volunteer? Am I going to go with a part-time job instead of full-time? Am I retiring? What are my needs, my goals, objectives? You know, I'm networking more, but I'm having to work less. Do I keep my resume updated, etc.? And you got to keep on doing this cycle round and round. And it doesn't mean you're not getting anywhere because each time you're growing, not necessarily moving up, but expanding. You're going to find you are making the you that you want to be. And last but not least, you've reached the end. It's your career, and you will make it and form it and grow it the way you need to with all this advice that we've given you. And it's that you're going to have to take the pieces and make them the way you need to make them. And good, bad, whatever it is, It's you. So I hope you found in this course some really good pieces of information. You may not like all of them. You may not have liked any of them, but it's really good information and it will give you a great start on that career. So that is the end of that. And tomorrow will be the last day of the class and you will be out there moving forward. There is no live class tomorrow. We covered that. So tomorrow you just go in and you click on the assignment. All right. So that's it. I hope you have a great career and enjoy the rest of the class tomorrow.
What was the live assignment for today?
You will have to go back and check the recording. There were 3 of them. If you missed it, I'm not going to go back and repeat it. You stepped out. All right. So the recording will be posted shortly. I asked for people to respond if they were out there. You did not respond. Thank you.